Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to climb a corporate ladder. Today, we are live on LinkedIn and for the first time, live on YouTube as well. A reminder that the show will also be available on podcast tomorrow. So, what's interesting for today is this is the first day we're actually having a LinkedIn Live with load shedding. So, let's see how it goes. If you are watching live, please drop a one in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves, and drop a two in the comments if you're watching the recording. My guest this week is Kuvani Naidoo, Chartered Accountant, Associate Director in Corporate Finance at EY, who's immigrated to Dublin in 2019. Kuvani, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, always.
To jump straight into questions, tell us your story. Where have you come from outside of work? Who is Kuvani Naidoo? Give us that backstory.
Okay, so I'll start. I was born in Durban, and I went to Effingham Secondary School. So Effingham Secondary is basically a predominantly Indian school, and it was established by the community there. And yeah, so from Effingham, I went to University of Cape Town, and that's when I transitioned to going into Cape Town. My mother moved to Cape Town in the second year of in my second year of university, and yeah, and then we settled there, and Cape Town became my home till the end of 2010. And when I was at the end of 2010, I applied to go to on secondment to the US. And so my there was a client there that was Bessemer Venture Partners audit client that was in New York State, and I was based in and lived in Connecticut. And then after that, I applied to go to Johannesburg, where I started my journey in transaction services. And yeah, I started at Deloitte there. And basically, after that, I spent 3 years there, and then 2014 I moved to Standard Bank. And then after Standard Bank, I did my own business for a year, and then from 2016 to 2017, and then 2017 I joined EY South Africa, and then 2019 I joined EY Dublin. And so
Okay,
that's
so,
basically my history. Yeah.
so you've crossed the country and you've crossed the globe as well. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So you did your articles in Cape Town and you moved to Joburg, and now you've recently moved to Ireland. So tell us a little bit about the similarities and the differences between working in Cape Town and in Joburg, and then between South Africa and Ireland.
So just okay, I can we'll talk about the three areas, because also America as well. Even though I did it for 3 months, it's good to give the listeners a view on that as well. So in terms of South Africa and Cape Town specifically, the clients are very, like, if you're in financial services, it's an amazing place to be because you get good experience. There's a lot of private equity clients in Cape Town. There's also a lot of banks, well, not the head offices. The head offices are in Johannesburg, but you get some banks, and then you have Old Mutual that's there. So in terms of, and your pension funds, administrations are there, and hedge funds. So in terms of my experience in Cape Town, and I chose financial services, I got a really good experience there. And then, so Cape Town is a little bit laid back in terms of, the working environment. And it's not in a bad way, because, the thing is, like, in Cape Town, there's not much more to do. You have the mountain, you can go for a hike, you can go to the wine farms, you can go to the beach, so it was easier to knock off at earlier on a Friday and start your weekend. And then when you look at the next step, when I went to to America. So America was very different. It's all about working and FaceTime and what you delivering, and everybody's very like ambitious there. So you like my working hours were quite hectic. I still got to travel, and see a lot of America, but I spent most of my time actually working there. The hours like were from 9 in the morning till 10 in the evening. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so
So you worked some
that
serious overtime.
yeah, and so it's and that's you have to make it's a lifestyle choice you have to make at the end of the day. And then you go to Johannesburg, and Johannesburg is literally in between Cape Town laid back and the American, like, hecticness and stuff like that. So, you still you work hard um, in Johannesburg, and you get a lot of experience, and it was a definitely good career move for myself specifically. And I had some good clients during my time when I was in transaction services from 2011 to 2014. I mean, like, I did game reserves, I did hotels, I did mining. So I had a very good client base there. And then when I moved to Standard Bank, it was really good experience there as well. Because I was in middle office, I wasn't front office or back office, so you're literally in between. And so you saw the bigger picture in terms of how everybody in the bank connects together, and all the um, departments connect together. And I was in treasury. I was in an 18-month rotation program, so which was really good because I got to understand the products, and I got to understand exactly what the bank is doing and what they're trying to achieve. And you know um, you got to bridge between front office and back office, making them understand as well what each other is trying to achieve, because obviously everyone's trying have has a different agenda, because the back office is more worried about
Yes, yes.
IFRS and how regulatory capital and how it looks on their books, and front office is like, what is my return? So
Yes, yes. And
yeah.
then Ireland?
No, so after Johannesburg, I moved to Ireland in June of 2019. And it was a really good opportunity for me. So I will spend a bit of time here, because I think this is very important, especially if people like move to another country. So my decision to move to Ireland, I wanted to have a different experience. And how I even got into thinking about moving to Ireland was, there was a person who was on in working in our team, who was from London, and he just came from secondment from EY Dublin. And he basically told me, look, Kuvani, the EY Dublin is a good opportunity. And he was just telling me about the culture and how things work, and and the partner that's running the EY Dublin TS, which is Marcus. And so I met with Marcus, spoke to him, and it was good, felt like a good fit. And that's the important thing when you making a decision to move countries and companies, because you have to feel that your leader is someone you can look up to, and also it's whether the team is going to be a good fit for you, because you don't want to move to a place and then you're unhappy there. It's because it's a big move, because you're leaving your family, you're
Mm.
leaving your friends, you're leaving your support base, and you're going somewhere else. And
I
so
guess you're stuck, isn't it? Because I mean, if
yeah.
you move to the other side of the world and you're unhappy, then you're going to be unhappy alone as well.
Exactly. So it's very important, and people tend to overlook that. They just say, "Oh, they don't even check if they're a good fit with their team or any of that stuff." They just say, "Oh, I want to move to Dublin, Ireland, and I want to get the experience," and that's it. But there's a lot of things to it, because, like, when I moved across, my first few months were very difficult for me. I couldn't find a place because Dublin at that time, there was a shortage of housing, and the Facebook and Google had moved, had the offices here, so they had their staff here. So there was a lot. There's a lot of construction going on now, but nothing was finalized at that stage. So it was for 2 months, like, I couldn't find anything. It was a
Where did you
struggle for
sleep?
me. Yeah, so EY provided accommodation for me. So but I mean, like, you staying in temporary housing and you don't feel settled, and you just want to feel like at least some sort of settlement, or that, like, in your head, that, oh, I finally found a place and I can move forward and sort of settle into my team and that sort of thing. But it was very difficult, and to top it all, I knew no one here. And so I didn't have someone to just, like, say, come over and, like, and I didn't know, like, anybody. I was only meeting people, like after I found my place and I settled in, after that, then I started meeting people. And that too, as well, it's very difficult in a new place, because Cape Town, I was lucky, like, it's very similar, like, Cape Town is very clicky. And I was lucky that I went to university there, so it was easier for me to make friends, because the younger you are, you just, like, want to be friends with everybody. So here it's more difficult, because now you're older, you have your friends based, you're more, like, settled, and then you're coming to a new place and you have to start all over. And it was very difficult for me to, make friends. And so literally just, met up with people and made an active effort to, meet up with people, go for drinks. And all of that stuff, and finally got a solid, friend base.
Building a
And
network, basically, it sounds like.
yeah, because you need support. And that's the other thing, like, I want to emphasize throughout your career, whether you stay in South Africa, whether you stay move overseas, have a good support base, like, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family. Like, it makes a world of difference in your life to have some people you can speak to, and that sort of thing. And so it was very difficult at first, and then finally, like, I felt, like, we got my friends base, starting to feel settled, and then COVID hit, and we went into hard lockdown. And and that sort of cut down a lot of my,
Okay.
a lot of the stuff. So,
So
but
you got a few curveballs, basically,
yeah,
from what it sounds like. Okay.
exactly. And
Okay.
that's the thing, ways, you never know what life is going to throw you, and it's how you handle it afterwards, that that makes a world of difference. And then, yeah, so I must say, like, my team, like the team in EY Dublin in TS, definitely a really good team. They made me feel very welcomed, and that helped a lot, you know, and
I'm
especially
going
in
to
the
pause you there
beginning.
quickly because I know we've got a lot of questions also
Oh, yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah,
through. So
yeah.
let's also get, and for anybody else who's got questions, please do put them on, and we'll chat to them towards the end. I'm sure a lot of young professionals are considering maybe immigrate, not necessarily immigrating or just trying the international experience. For them, where can they find out more information? Where would be the best place to go?
Look, on LinkedIn, there's a lot of posts. You'll see a lot of posts in terms of uh, trying to, people will say, oh, there's an opportunity in the Big Four in Dublin, and I see like a lot of posts on there, and also myself, if you follow me, I end up also reposting a lot of posts from Dublin and the different areas here. So yeah, it's all about who your network is, and who what you share. So even you, Uais, like if you see something on, just share it, and then that's how people get to know about it. Yeah, and also if you
Okay.
in the Big Four already, like you can always say, oh, is there an opportunity somewhere? Like be proactive about it if that's what you want. If that's really what you want, just be proactive. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take you back a little bit. So, as someone you've climbed the corporate ladder, but you've also spent some time starting and running your own business.
Yeah.
Would you recommend to the young professionals out there, should they stick to the corporate world or should they also try entrepreneurship? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I've seen so for myself, and I'll speak from myself and my point of view. um like what I was doing wasn't really a niche market. So like for instance, like my like when I joined EY South Africa associate director, I had to, I mean, a senior manager at that stage, I had to dissolve my business because it was in direct competition with the Big Four. So so that's one thing. Like obviously you need to establish your brand. That's one thing I've learned. You need to establish a good client base before you think of starting a job. You need to have the experience, and a good CV and good experience helps a lot. And it doesn't mean that, oh, if you're 30 years old, you're too young to start a business, or if you 40 years old, you very experienced and you need to start a business. That's not it at all. It's about where are you in your life and how determined you are in terms of your and establish your network. My biggest, and also one biggest learning thing is when you're starting your own business, have a sustainable income that's meeting your monthly expenses. So, like, remember, if you working, if you're a chartered accountant, for instance, you would have done your articles at a Big Four, or you would have done something at a bank. If you were out of public practice, leverage of that. You have experience, so go back to where you came from. Say that, oh, I want to be a consultant there, and consult for them. And I mean, that's the way the future is going anyway. Like, nobody I mean, firms are moving away from the fixed headcount to more consulting based approach. So go there, say, you know what, I have this experience, I can be a consultant. Then you at least have a fixed income, month after month, to cover your costs. And then whatever over and above that, you can pursue your other
Okay.
stuff, if that makes sense.
No, that's great advice. Switching a little bit, you used to be very involved in ABSA and helping South Africa to get to be becoming a more normal and equal society. For those of you who don't know, Kuvani was the vice president of ABSA Western Cape at the stage. Also voted the most active Western Cape member a few years ago. So my question to you is, number one, are you still involved, and would you still recommend others getting involved?
Yeah. So I'm still involved. I'm mentoring someone who I met through the student chapter. I mentored him. He's now a qualified chartered accountant. He qualified last year, and he's getting married this year. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done my he's at least established and he's reached his goal. And then I've taken on one more person who I'm currently mentoring as well. And she's going to go into her honors year this year, and she's going to do starter articles um, in one of the big four. So I still do, like, I'm still connected to South Africa, and I'm still connected to the race cause. And I definitely I think it's an agenda that still needs to be high profiled and high people just need to be involved in, especially the new generation. They need to be actively seeking to transform their organizations and themselves, and never undersell yourselves, as well. Like, honestly, you're going to go through the corporate, and you're going to see that there's certain barriers there for especially people of color. Like, just try and overcome them, or challenge the norm, and find your own identity in the process, because corporate wasn't always designed for people of color. So we also need to um, make it our own and our home, if that makes sense, you know.
Definitely makes sense. And a lot of people that some people don't understand it. All I say is it's just about making society normal and equal. There's nobody trying to get it's just trying to get it back to a normal after hundreds of years of abnormality.
Exactly.
If we can switch, I'm just going to go over the questions just to see if there's any questions in the chat. We've got a question here from Dumisani. Dumisani's question is, if you're not moving within a company like EY, how do you go about looking for overseas jobs? Is it easy to apply through audit firms, or going via a corporate?
No, it depends on your experience, because I mean, we don't look at I mean, you don't have to have an audit background, or an audit uh, come from an audit firm in order to come across. Like, if you have the good experience, we hired recently someone who has pure banking experience, so and didn't even touch an audit firm.
So
So
somebody can apply straight to EY Dublin from outside of EY, basically, is what
yeah,
you're
and if
saying.
you have the
Okay.
have a good experience, it's fine. And you will see on on LinkedIn, there's a lot of people who will promote the position and the place, and also, please don't go for a position where that you don't have the experience for it, like, um also, because you're just going to be disappointed. I've seen, like, I mean, I've see CVs comes across my desks, and some people, um it, you have to also be intuitive and strategic about what you want to do with your life and your career. So when you look at a position, say, do I have the skill sets for this position, you know and and then apply. Don't just apply because, oh, this is an opportunity that's available. How do you see yourself in 5 years' time, and how, if this is a stepping stone for me to get to that position in 5 years' time? You know.
Okay, no, that's great. I don't see any other. Oh, we've got one more question here from Lerato. Let's see if we can answer that one quickly. Do you think it's better to spend time post articles in South Africa prior to making the move overseas in order to get some experience?
Um, Look. Lerato, I would say that if you can move directly after articles, like I went to the US directly after articles, and you know, and for me, that's my personal experience. The US didn't work out for me because it just wasn't a good fit for myself. But at least if you go straight after articles and you're young enough, you can experience a lot more, and you can find out which country you actually um, fit in. And if it might not even be that you fitting into that country, you might say, oh, home is where I want to be, and you could just be there,
But you
so
figured it out early. I
yeah.
also think if you can experience sooner rather than later, because as it gets later, you start getting attachments, and it's very difficult to move to the other side of the world with a wife and a few kids or family or things like that. So if you can experience and you can go into convent, by all means, do it.
Exactly.
I must confess, I've known Kuvani since CTA many years ago. But because she's got such a hectic job, the only way I can actually get to talk to her is to invite her onto this platform. Kuvani, any last few words or anything you want to discuss that you or let the audience know that we didn't mention earlier?
um just look, life is not life is not easy. And this is applies to everyone. It's how you handle those curveballs that's defines you as a person, and will make you a successful person in your career. And trust me, like, I mean, I didn't highlight the stuff. I mean, I failed in life, I've made mistakes in life, and I will admit it. And but I picked myself up after that, and I made sure that I stuck to my goal and my plan, and my 5-year plan and 10-year plan. And that's all I can say is, like, just keep on keeping on. Yeah.
That's great advice. Thank you so much for your time. A reminder to the audience that the show will be available on podcast by latest tomorrow. If you are watching on YouTube or the podcast and you feel that the videos added value, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you get automatically notified the next time the next episode comes out. I'll be releasing information about the next episode again towards the end of the week or at the beginning of next week. Thanks again, Kuvani. And thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat. Bye bye.